Guys, today we are going to be doing some Sinister Cup battles versus Qwertzyan. This was on his stream, so some of y'all might have seen it already. Um, I'm going to start this match off with my Shiny Drifloon, because Shinies deal more damage. He goes in with Poliwrath. Poliwrath is a pretty good mon for this cup, arguably the best fighter in the cup. Um, he has a really easy time against Drifloon because of that Ice Punch, so I really have to be careful with that. I go for the ominous win after storing up enough energy for the Shadow Ball. He decides not to block, so maybe it was a bad idea to go for ominous win instead of Shadow Ball. I might have been able to take it out. He uses his power up punch. I decided not to block because normally people go for a power up punch first. He stored up quite a bit of energy, so he gets to another charge move really quick. I decided to shield just in case it was that ice punch. It'd do a lot of damage to me. Um, I go for another ominous win, trying to get that stat boost, because once a Drifloon can get that stat boost, he becomes a absolute monster. Um, if I undertapped, I might have been able to get my third ominous win, but I'm pretty sure I let my Drifloon go down. Wrong. I shield, and it was the Ice Punch, so we CMP tied, and I get my charge move off now, and we're gonna get a shield out of him, so now we are both out of shields. He is powered up twice, so those bubbles are hurting quite a bit. I could have possibly undertapped for that ominous win, but again, I was just practicing, so I wasn't taking it all that serious and wasn't trying to undertap or anything. He did message me afterwards saying he messed up on a few undertaps, so I'm guessing he was. Um, he gets his charge move off. The power up punch is going to do some neutral damage, and since this is the third one, it's going to be hurting pretty good. Um, I get mine off, and it should be enough. I mean, it definitely is enough to take his Poliwrath out, but he has a Medicham, which some people argue that Medicham's not going to be good in this cup just because of the typing and the dominance of Ghost in this meta. But I feel that it does have a very good place in the meta if played right. My power up punch hardly does anything to him, and he gets off a possibly power up punch? Question mark. Yes. So that's gonna be enough to take out my Poliwrath, and all I have left is Steelix. So I'm in a really bad situation. He could probably just get off, one power up punch and two or three, maybe even one counter, and just GG's. Okay, so maybe a little more. I guess Steelix is a little more tanky than I'm giving him credit for. I'm able to get to a crunch. It was a last ditch effort. Um, it is neutral damage to Medicham because of the fighting type, making it resisted but psychic being weak. So we're going to go into a second round. I start off Poliwrath. He starts off Steelix. So this is a really good matchup for me. The bubbles are going to be doing super effective damage. The power punches are going to be doing super effective, and he knows that, so he switches out immediately into Drifloon. I kind of make the wrong switch here into my Bayonet, but I figure, you know, it's practice, so who cares? Any kind of ghost move is going to hurt the Bayonet really bad, so I decide to shield because those Shadow Claws just deal so much damage. Um, I knew he would get to another ominous win pretty quick, so I tried to burn a shield, which I get it, and I think at this point I just let my bayonet go down, not wanting to waste both shields on it. So that ominous win is going to be enough to take me out. I come back in with my Poliwrath. I get a switch glitch. He did get the buff, so I am a little scared of his Drifloon at this point. So I go for the shield, and a Shadow Ball powered up definitely would have taken me out. I go for a power up punch, hoping to get a shield, so I could go for an ice punch with the stored up energy because of the um, switch glitch, which I get it and go for my ice punch. Um, with the boost, I'm not sure if this is going to be able to knock him out. Well, yeah, it is because he was so low. But we're both out of shields at this point. We're tied on Pokemon, except he has a HP advantage. He brings in Mawile, which surprisingly is doing pretty good in this cup. It definitely has a place. Against the Poliwrath, it's not gonna do that good, even though Power Up Punch is resisted, or it's neutral damage because Fairy resists fighting and Steel's weak to it. Well, I switch out in Steelix, he switches back into his original Steelix, and I'm able to get to that Earthquake. And since he has no shields, I felt pretty comfortable using it. And just by those couple bubbles from the beginning, I get him down pretty low. Uh, Seeing how my Earthquake didn't one-shot him, I was pretty comfortable that this Earthquake wasn't going to one-shot me. So I'm able to get to a Crunch to feint it down. Um, I might have been able to do it with just Dragon Tails, even though they're resisted by Steelix's Steel type. Um, I figured, what the heck, he had a Mawile. Poliwrath is gonna be resistant to that bite, and I'm gonna get to that Power Up Punch pretty quick. So this should be enough to take it out, and then we'll be moving on to our third game, which I believe this is the last game in the set. I start off with my Drifloon, and he starts off with Poliwrath, so basically the same as game one. Um, I figure I might play this a little differently. Um, can't remember if I do. I charge it for a Shadow Ball. He undertaps and gets to his charge move. I think I'm not going to shield and it's going to be an Ice Punch. It definitely hurts the Drifloon because of his flying type. So I go for the Ominous Wind, having stored up quite a bit of energy and miss a couple bubbles, but still get the excellent. Oh, it was a Shadow Ball. Just kidding. Uh, so this Poliwrath is definitely putting in quite a bit of work. I knew I had my Ominous Wind energy built up, so I decided to shield, even though the Power Up Punch wouldn't have done a whole lot of damage to Drifloon. Um, so I go for this Ominous Wind. I mean, really just trying to get a shield, but it's not gonna happen. So my Pokemon faints out first, so we are now tied on shields, but he's ahead on Pokemon. I didn't think Banette would get hurt as bad as it did from Ice Punch. It did about half damage, and so I didn't really want to waste the shield on Banette. I take it out with just fast moves, and whatever he brings in next, I'm gonna go and try to Shadow Ball, which is Mawile. The Mawile is really gonna hurt my Banette with its bite. So after this charge move, I go to switch out. The Shadow Ball does a lot of damage to it. As soon as I switch, he switches into his Drifloon. We are even on shields, so I figure if I go for two Ice Punches, or just go straight Ice Punch, I would be able to not only get the shield, but just take it out. But it looks like I'm going for a Power Punch. So possibly trying to bait for that shield. He probably thought my last one was a Power Punch, so he didn't shield. Um, he doesn't shield on this one either, but I go for another Power Punch, but it faints out before I get it there, and I something crazy went through my head, and I decide to switch out to get like one hit in. It hits me once, and Banette faints, and then I bring my Poliwrath back in to Shadow Hit for the KO. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And y'all check out Qwertzyan's streaming I'll leave a link in the description.